broadcasting live from our studio in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox City's Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. A couple special guests. We've got Brad Bordini and Michael Grabner. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
We're starting a little bit late. When you get a bunch of musicians in a room, you know, we start talking, and we had Walt Hamburger here and Eric Herm from Fox Cities Live here, so we had some good conversation going on. It's always good to run into people and talk.
Interesting things coming up in that discussion. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, you guys were doing a show today out in the heat, right?
Yes.
Indeed.
Tell me about that.
Yeah,
Is this one of the hottest shows you've ever played?
Today and yesterday, probably. We did. We played at Lawrence University's Banter Bowl for the Green Bay Glory soccer team, like the semi-pro team there. They had a doubleheader, and so we played kind of in between. So it was Rick Armstrong on drums, and then Tom Thiel on bass, and then us. So that was pretty fun.
It was fun. We had shade today,
Yeah.
which was helpful. I guess, among the hottest shows I've ever played, for sure, the last 2 days. But I always had shade, at least, and we weren't out in the sun. So,
Well,
could have been worse.
I broke the rule. I wore shorts, and I think that's the second time I've ever done that. And last night we played. Help me out.
Hoya Hop House.
Hoya Hop House Brewery in Waupun. And I called ahead, and I'm like, oh, are we going to be outside because of the heat or whatever, or inside? And they said, no, you'll be inside. I'm like, cool, great, wear jeans, all this stuff. And they opened up both the garage doors, and the place was like 95, and
It was
humid.
like 90, like a minute after they opened them.
And I should say, they're absolutely amazing, wonderful place.
Cool
so
place.
all musicians, check it out, and just the nicest family-run place.
So what's your biggest concern when you're playing in 92 plus degree weather? Is it your instruments or is it your health?
Oh,
Neither. I disregard both things.
he's just straight man over here. I'm worried about everything. No, I was over with my guitars. I was and then I just said, well, it's done. It doesn't matter once you're there. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess I worry more about my instrument. Probably, I always make sure like I have Gatorade and electrolytes and just a lot of. I focus more on hydration when it gets like dangerously hot like this.
I think I need to focus on set lists from now on, because last night I was delirious from the heat and I couldn't even remember.
Couldn't remember any of his
like
own
I kept
songs.
asking him, I'm like, what songs have I written? I couldn't even like pull up a set list or something. So I think I got to remember that for the future.
How was the crowd playing a show that hot? Can you see like the people in the crowd, like what they're going through as far as, because I mean, they're probably not as hot as you guys are, but probably pretty
Definitely
close.
not.
Yeah. Last night, I mean, difference between a sports, venue versus the brewery. The brewery, they were there just having drinks and listening to us, and I think they were really nice and wonderful people and responsive. And today, I think it was just hot, and they were in the sun. We were the only ones in shade, I think, for a lot of it. So, it was good. It was fine. It was fun. So,
Yeah, it makes my banter easier actually, and when it's really hot, because like in between songs I can just say like, keep hydrating, stay hydrated, because this is dangerous, and it makes me look like I'm like responsible and I care.
what a facade.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I know. It's just the illusion that I care. But sometimes I don't know what to say in between songs, and it's just like an easy go-to. So I appreciate that.
Can you be totally honest with me? Like, when you come up with some good stage banter, do you reuse it?
Oh, constantly.
Yeah.
Because you must know when something goes over really well.
I haven't gotten any good stage banter to repeat yet, so I suppose the answer is no for me. So
Well, you do the Australian accent that you bust out at about half of our gigs. He does that.
If it starts, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, and then it goes on.
Yeah, and it gets really.
And
goes on.
So.
Is that an intentional? Like people know you're just putting it on, or you just start?
I've had some
doing
people
it?
not know at all, and they came up to me because they walk in as I'm already doing it, and they're really confused. They're like, "How do you switch from from that to this, to when you sing, you sound American, and I laugh. I'm like, okay.
I've never heard anyone convinced that it was real before.
No. No.
But
yeah.
You and Kurt kind of both do this, and I've taken to it a little bit. Is the making up where a song is from, or like you do it with your cover of Jump.
Oh yeah, I
the
do
Van Halen tune.
And I say, I wrote this back, long time ago in '84, and with my friends, Eddie and we worked on, and I come up with the whole story sometimes just to see if who's paying attention. I start singing, and some people laugh, other people I think it's always funny when people get like almost offended. You're like, why? Like, what are you upset about? Like I pulled one over on you. So, but
one of the first times that I saw Kurt play, actually, Kurt Gunn, he was playing at the Blue Opus in Bellevue when that was still open, and someone yelled out for Johnny Cash, like a Johnny Cash song, and he went on this whole thing about how he has this song, and it's like this rare Johnny Cash bootleg, and it's like this really cool song that he wrote a long time ago, and then he just started playing one of his own songs, and that was that. And I like that kind of banter of just tricking the audience and playing games with them. It's pretty cool.
I think my favorite that he does, it'll be every song will be by I'm having a blank right now. Who does Night Moves? Who sings Night Moves? Why are we can't.
It's the Heat.
Yeah.
People.
Night Moves. Who is that?
Oh, for God's sake.
Bob Seger. So everything's by Bob Seger then. and here's a vintage Seger, and he's just see, it's just hilarious. Like if you know, and it's so funny. So I think I laugh half the time, meaning half the time that I'm performing with him, I'm like laughing because I can't get over it when he does it. So
it's like the Australian accent with you. Like sometimes I laugh, and other times I'm just
like you get the giggles.
Here we go with that again.
Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, it is. right, Vigor. Right as rain. Right as rain.
There you go. It is. Right as rain.
And it's like a mixture of like UK like Cockney English and then Australian. Anyway, we should move on. So it's terrible.
So tell me,
I've been up all night. Maybe I don't know.
So, normally I do a bunch of research and stuff, but what are you guys working on? What's the latest? I know that you were both trying to get stuff in at Rock Garden. I know you've been there a little bit.
Well, I finished the album, so that's taken care of, and then slowly, I think I've got 3 out from that right now. It's kind of funny because I put the dates in wrong on the release, and so they just fired right one after. I'm like, oh, that wasn't too bright. I was up all night doing a radio show, and so I was a little delirious. And but I have that done, and then but otherwise we're doing. We're really busy with. We just did this with the Michael Grabner and the Ghosts of Electricity. That's the full band.
New band.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have. What was that? I suppose we didn't really talk about it. Well, we've been playing, so. But we've got some shows for that, full band shows with that, and then.
How did you decide to get the band together, the actual band? Was that something that was talked about for a while before it was finally?
Definitely, it's something that that's just been on the back burner for a long time. It's like I know I've known that I've wanted to play with a band. I've done like solo duo stuff for a really long time.
Well, it's like a Traveling Wilburys, except your name is the lead tag on it.
Yeah, just the way I envisioned it, Wilburys, but with my name.
Michael Grabner and the Traveling Wilburys. That's the new name. That's it.
No, but it's
Switch from Dylan to that. That's great.
I mean, it's been like a really natural thing, right? Because obviously Brad and I have played a ton of duo shows together, so we know he knows the material really well, and vice versa because we do some of Brad's songs with the band too. And then the rhythm section, Rick Armstrong and Chris Hanaway, they've worked on Rick's worked on basically every recording that I've ever done. That's full band, and Chris has been on a lot of that stuff too. So players who I'm comfortable with, who we have good chemistry. But yeah, it's it's awesome. It's just it's a cool thing to be in a band. I get why so many people do it.
And I love it because I haven't played, electric, like distorted, for a long time, and it gives me that chance to do that again. And that really, I miss it. I forgot how much I missed it. And I mean, that goes back to Commonplace with, Kurt Gunn and, a few other guys that rotating, as I was in, then I was out and back and forth and a lot of great players through that band, but that's how far back you're talking since I played electric, like distorted electric. And it's just been so much fun to have the chance to do that. And, although it kind of ruined me financially a little bit because I just started buying pedals now left and right, and that's a slippery slope.
So man. Like every gig, we get there and there's like this ever expanding pedal board.
It's gonna be like Neil Peart, like it's gonna be like just I'm gonna be surrounded with them, like.
Yeah.
There was a song I played about 6 hours ago from a band called the German Art Students about your percussion. You have too much percussion or something, and the whole song's about a drummer. They're seeing a band at a show, and the drummer's got all this stuff he's not using, and the lyrics are funny. I'm not going to do it any justice, but it's like, you've got that gong that you're not using, and it's all that stuff. And it is kind of like some guitar players have these big boards, and they're using like one or two pedals on it.
Well, and it's funny because I kind of have that right now because I bounce back and forth with acoustic and electric, like plugged in, and so it's like
you don't want to
half
take
the
it
board.
apart.
Yeah, I'm like I don't want to have two boards, to keep switching. That's probably what I should do is just have an acoustic board and whatever. But knowing me, I'll forget it. I'll grab the wrong one and I'll have nothing I need. So I'm sure. See, he knows. He's right away. Yep, he will. Yeah. So it is.
So when you were putting this band together, Michael. Yeah. The idea was to not stray too far from, I mean, it's still got the singer-songwriter vibe to it, except with the full band. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about going totally left field, or would it be right field?
I don't know.
However they say it. And like doing like a punk band or like some kind of one-off thing where you just put a set, like something people aren't going to expect from Michael Grabner.
Well, I've been, I think, leaning more into this rock and roll direction in a lot of ways, and Brad, like I said, he keeps adding these pedals and all this distortion and all this stuff, and it's like that's where my ear is going these days. And I just purchased an electric guitar and an amp, which I intend to use with the band. So things are going to get, I think, heavier to an extent.
It's almost Newport. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can I ask what kind of guitar you got?
I got a Gretsch.
Nice.
It's funny. I played I played a set with it was for this Voices of Literacy cool project that was going on, and I was on a bill with the Bellwether, and I don't know the name of the guy who was playing bass for the Bellwether, but I saw them recently, and I was talking about how I'm going to get an electric guitar, and this guy works at a music shop in Sheboygan, and he named his daughter Gretsch because that's how strongly he believes in Gretsch instruments. And I thought, going into making this purchase, like if someone's going to name their child after this instrument, like it must be the right way to go.
Well, and I fell in love with that because actually from Mark, I purchased his 65, the Countryman, and that thing, it's just it's something.
It's nicer
else
than mine.
Yeah.
Mine's the bass level. Streamliner.
But they'll sound great together.
Oh,
that's for sure.
It sounds amazing. I invested more in the amp than I did in the guitar, but yeah, truthfully, I was thinking about how much I wish I knew his name. This guy was such a strong advocate for these Gretsch guitars. But I played a bunch. I played Epiphones and Gibsons and some others, and this one just felt the best. So
are you guys done now with projects at Rock Garden?
I'm still, I forgot. I'm still working on some things there. We're finishing off. I've been doing all these singles that I've been releasing over the course of like 2 years now. It's all going to come together on a full album that I'm going to be releasing in the fall, I think. And there's 4 or 5 songs that I haven't released yet that are for that project, and I'm kind of seeing if I can rush some more recordings in before it's all done. I'm just gonna get as much, done before it's all over as I possibly can.
I kind of gave up on the idea because I was gonna have enough material to do at least one or more, and I was going to go in and do some old ones too, like some stuff just to capture it. And I talked to Kurt even about doing some songs that we did a long time ago just to have, just for us, and maybe release them, don't know, and finish up some other project work that we had been doing. And I remember finishing up the album, and like that was right around when Mark made the announcement that he was finishing things, and I was like, I said, hey, maybe I'll get in, and then he was just booked, and I went, yeah, I doubt this is going to change, and I just went, I'm just going to, step away from it. So, but if Mark were still going, yeah, I would be there in a heartbeat. So
I wonder if he's already booked the final artist on that board yet, if somebody's taken that, because he's got a hard cutoff, right? That board is headed out, and that's the end of his,
it's sometime in July.
July 15th or something. I don't remember.
I can't remember the exact date, but it's mid-July, I think.
I supposed to talk to him today, I think. Just realized that. Anyway.
So have you guys been looking for a new home base to record at? Have you found any studio or heard anything that you're interested in?
I haven't yet. I'm mourning for a little bit. I'll be in mourning, and no, I'm just kidding. No, I really, joking, but truth be told, I don't know what to do with that a little bit right now, and so just because I haven't even released this one, so I've got a little time, I think, where I'll adjust from that, but I don't know. What about you?
For me, I have I've had this vision for a while of doing like a more like country style project, because I have that side of me too, and I have a lot of songs that are more country songs. And there's a guy up in Sturgeon Bay who's a really great country artist, and he has a studio, and we've started to work. Yeah, we've started to work on that project. So for that particular thing, I found someone who I'm really happy with. But going, with my more rock and roll type stuff, I don't know. I'm still in shock, I think, to an extent, because we were working on a song, Goldie and I, a few weeks ago, and he's not only an excellent engineer, an excellent producer, he's just an insanely talented musician on so many different instruments, coming up with these incredible parts like on the spot. Yeah. And it's like I'm starting to realize how spoiled I've been by the fact that I have that.
I always felt like it was Christmas because, like, I play lead, obviously, as we were talking about. I play lead, and I would be like, no, you do it, and then he'd send it to me. I'm like, oh, it was like you'd see the file come through the email, and I'm like, it was Christmas every time. You're like, what did he do now? And then you figure out like what genre, where did it come from, or what was the feeling? So,
well, now that he's kind of stepping away more from the recording, he might have more time to actually play in a band like you've got going or something like that. Like it sounds like he might have an opportunity to kind of do something different like that, which would be interesting. That he's actually a part of the scene again, instead of, well, he still is, but more of like a playing part.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I think he's excited to be able to just be a musician, versus what he's been doing for so long. And if he ever wants to join a band, he's got my number.
I had a message here from MW Chotbum. What a pleasant surprise to see a couple of my favorite local musicians on live.
Oh, thank you.
Is that my grandma?
I don't know. Thank you, though, for the comment. Are you guys both announced for Mile of Music?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you see the PBS Mile of Music presentation?
Tomorrow, right? I didn't see that earlier.
They had the viewing of it last Monday.
I couldn't,
and I couldn't make it. But
you can stream it on the PBS app.
Yeah, so I saw they have like a bunch of the
Monday,
performances like clipped, and I've watched some of those, and the quality of it's just insane. It looks like everything turned out so awesome, but I haven't seen the whole thing straight through yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, and because it's such a whirlwind. You know, you're like, you can't hit everything obviously, but seeing it from those angles and stuff, and you know, the production, I'm sure it's going to be, well, you already saw it, so. But
It's
I'm
really, I
excited
mean,
to
from
see
what
it.
I've seen, it's really, really
Yeah.
good.
Seeing it at the Expo Center was,
You went?
yeah, that was an
Yeah.
experience because they had a huge sound system, and it was,
Oh.
I said to
sure.
the producer, it's probably sounded better there than it did at the festival because they were able to remix everything, and the bass drum was kicking, and
That's awesome.
quite an
Yeah.
experience. But do you guys have any special plans for Mile of Music? How far in advance? Because you probably want to give a special performance to stand out from all the performers there. How much time do you put into tweaking your Mile of Music sets?
That's a good question.
I'm sure. So I've got Kurt and I are doing the Brothers Gun, and I got to talk to him about that. I mean, last time it was just, that was my first Mile actually, and that I got to play, and so it's kind of, I just follow whatever he said. You know, I'm like, all right, whatever. That'll still be the case. I'll still be like, whatever you want to do, man. That sounds great, you know. But we'll probably do a set list and get things together. But as far as like catching other people as well, is that what you meant, or did
Well,
you mean
meant
just
as far
for us?
as you're getting your set list ready to make you stand out?
Yeah, no, I think because of the sets, you know, playing at Gibson, having those shows that, you know, that are a little bit shorter, you know, it's fine tuned it a little bit. And so I think that Kurt will have a pretty good idea. I don't know if he's watching; he can comment. But I'm sure we'll come up with something pretty quick, and then I don't know. We should probably talk about that. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and for me, you know, this will be, I think, my 5th Mile, but it'll be my first time there with a band.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be, you know, that's a big, a unique thing.
Does
right
that mean bigger rooms?
I don't know. The schedule, I don't know yet, so I don't know exactly where we'll be
For the
with
full band, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting for people to know. The artists don't really know most of the time where they're going to be playing until the schedule comes out. And then you actually look at it. You might know the day, but until the
Yep.
schedule comes out, you don't really know where you're going to be. So if you've got 4 shows, you don't know where it is until
Exactly.
everybody else finds out where it is.
Exactly.
I don't even think I have dates right now.
I have days, but I don't have the
the time.
the
Yeah.
time,
Or location.
the location or the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how that goes down. But I'm really a fan of like that 45-minute
Yeah.
set length because it's just, I can just lay it all out there, and you know, with Mile, you get it a lot. I've gotten it a fair amount, you know, doing like the solo acoustic show where like people are kind of in and out, right? And I like the challenge of trying to get them to just sit their asses down and stay seated,
Yeah.
and just stay there. But I get it. People have like they're trying to catch X amount of artists, so they don't stay for full sets. But
How distracting is it when you're doing the singer-songwriter stuff and there's a lot of people talking or, you know, not focused on the performance? Does that get inside your head?
You didn't get too mad at me when I did that last year.
I just didn't talk to you about it.
Yeah.
So it depends on it. That's a good question. I mean, like at Mile, I think I've gotten, there's a good culture of it being listening room shows and not being a lot of talking. That doesn't mean every show, but for the most part. But the leaving is a distraction and part of that is just something that I think I need to work through myself, honestly.
It's almost like in your head you think like, oh, did I
Oh,
suck?
what did I do?
But it's
Like,
not that.
do
It's
I
just
suck?
it's
Yeah.
because the rest of the room's loving it, you know. And because I actually did catch like Amanda and Kurt. I came and saw you play in the basement, one of the basement rooms, like green, whatever.
Yep.
And I remember that because it was you could tell they were going to a show, like when they got up to leave. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But you could hear a pin drop, you know, when he was playing, and it was just, that was awesome.
And when it comes to crowd noise, just like generally, you know, like, you know, you kind of have to know, you know, going in, like what you're going to get, I think, for the most part. You know, we do a lot of brewery, winery, bar shows where, you know, I don't ever have an expectation that people are going to be quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's certain things, like I don't love it when there's like a sports game on a TV and people start clapping for the sports team when I'm in the middle of a song. That
happened the other night.
That's always a drag. And
I don't like it because I get lost in the game. Then I'm staring at it. I'm like, oh,
what's happening?
Yeah, there's. I think the other thing is there's, and this has happened even. We just played like 5. This is day 5 of playing, and I think there were multiple times where I thought that people weren't necessarily into it at all, and then there was like a moment, like at set break or something, and they're like, "Oh my God, you guys are amazing," and you're like, "Oh, okay," and then somebody else stops you, and you're like, "Oh, that was just a misperception," and I mean, it's like no secret, most musicians we're like our own worst critics, and not everyone, but a lot of people that I know, and you just kind of, you can get in your head, and then you just gotta let it go and just play for the music and just for the fun of it. And I think that's when we shine more. Otherwise, you can get, I mean, it's almost like, freak out moment, right?
Yep. And that's definitely something I've learned over the years, is that even though people seem to not be paying attention, it doesn't mean that they aren't, at least to an extent.
Right.
So, yeah.
So M.W. Troutman said that's not your grandma,
Oh.
and I know you've got to get running soon, Michael. So,
I do.
they had a question, which I think you kind of answered. Anything new coming at Mile? I know Brad has a new single out. So are you going to be playing a lot of new material at Mile? Are you comfortable enough to play that at Mile yet?
I'm doing some of the songs. Excuse me. I'm doing some of the songs already live. I don't know if we'll put those in rotation because when I did those, they're not in regular rotation right now with the Brothers Gunn because they're just so new. And Kurt's doing a great job spending time going through a lot of that stuff and coming up with his parts and what he wants to add to it. And that's what's really fun. Like if I'm playing with Michael or Kurt, they bring totally different things to it. And it's actually great for me. It just lights my brain up. I love it. But I don't know if we'll have time to get that down before then to change up, set list stuff. But maybe band. I don't know. We got to go over some of those things and figure that out by that point.
I'm just realizing, like, within the confines of this interview, that Mile is like 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
That's a depressing thought that the summer is going super fast.
I know. Yeah. It's just completely insane.
Well, there's that, and then there's the some other shows we have lined up. So that's public now, right?
Which one? Fox River House? Oh yeah, and Oktoberfest. My band is there. Yeah.
So
that's all announced.
Yeah, so so we have other full band shows like for Oktoberfest where it's going to be a lot of us. So it's kind of like some of the guys got to learn the new stuff anyway. But I think for the Brothers Gunn, probably we'll stick with a lot of the stuff that we know right now, and then for us maybe we'll throw one or two of the new ones in. Yeah.
No, we're going to do entirely new material.
Challenge accepted.
So, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to plug?
I don't know. What do we have?
Let me just check my calendar. Obviously,
we're playing the cancer benefit on it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's public, like a thing that people can just
right.
show up to. I have... on Thursday, I'm playing at JP's 6-string studio. I forget exactly where that is, but it is. You can find that. You should go to my website, michaelgrabnermusic.com. You can find all my events. Me and Brad are at Black Sheep,
the 27th
Bar and Grill on next Friday.
It's in Green Bay,
which is in Green Bay.
And then Paradise North. I've got the next day Paradise North with the Brothers Gunn, which is a cool distillery, kind of by Bay Beach. If you haven't been out there, so it's right by the water, South Marina, and just beautiful place, wonderful people. They got really nice. Really nice booze there. I hear. I don't drink anymore,
nice
but they got some good booze. So no, they're great people though, and awesome scenery. So
also, I'm at Sway Brewing on Sunday the 29th, which is a really cool place in. It's in Door County. I can't remember. Bailey's Harbor.
Yeah.
And I have a pretty recent single out, Hold Me Till I'm Gone, which you can find on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah, and definitely. Yeah, I've got a few. As I said, a few singles out by accident all at once. So, and unfortunately, I kind of buried the first one I put out. Tom Thiel has this awesome, guitar lick on it, and I feel badly because I buried it with the other one coming out right away. But yeah, check those out, please, and follow me on Spotify. I never promote my Spotify stuff, so follow me on that, please. I appreciate it.